Are you wondering how on earth you can grow your business without paid ads or spending a bucket load of time and money on marketing? In this episode, my guest Jessica Osborn breaks down the key to business growth, which she believes lies with attracting premium paying clients so that you can make more money with the same amount of effort. She breaks down the 5 steps to do this, from uncovering the intersection between your niche and what you love to do, crafting an offer that your ideal client will love, creating a brand experience that wows, how to generate leads, and making it easy for people to work with you. Now, this episode is a little longer than usual, but that's because Jessica always brings so much value and funny stories and analogies to the table. Make sure that you go and check out her upcoming masterclass Magnetic Formula, as it's going to be full of even more gold. Welcome to the Powerful Content Podcast, your go-to source for content creation, strategy, and business inspiration. I'm your host, Mel Daniels, content strategist, coach, and speaker, empowering women across the globe to grow their business with powerful content that connects, nurtures, and converts. So, if you're ready to create standout content that gets you noticed and remembered, or build an aligned audience who love you and are ready to buy from you, you're in the right place. I believe that content has the power to connect us all. It's up to you how you use it. Listen in for genuine and insightful chats with guests, as well as practical tools and strategies from me. It's so lovely to have you here. Let's dive into the show. I acknowledge the Wongal people of the Eora Nation as the traditional custodians of the country that I am recording from today. I recognise their continuing connection to the land and waters. I pay my respects to elders past and present and extend that respect to all First Nation people listening today. Hello, beautiful people, and welcome to episode 127 of the Powerful Content Podcast. Thank you for joining us today. And I say us because I have with me the amazing Jessica Osborn, marketing strategist and business coach, with me today. Now, this is the second time that Jessica has joined me here. She appeared over 100 episodes ago. Can you believe it's been that long?
Wow.
At
I can't.
episode 21. So welcome to the podcast for
Wow.
the second time, Jessica.
Thank you, Mel. And I just want to say congratulations. That is a huge amount of episodes that you have done. So, huge kudos to you. And thank you for having me back again.
Well, thank you for being here. And I know that you have hit a milestone recently in your podcasting journey as well, 200 episodes. That is a very big feat.
Yeah, 200 episodes. Can you believe it? Yeah, you've been on mine as well, which has been awesome. So we should hook up that link for you as well in the show notes to come and listen to you on my podcast.
Absolutely. I'll make sure that I pop it in there. So today we are talking about growing our business and how marketing can actually help with this. And I know that my listeners understand the importance of marketing and content marketing as well, but they often feel like it's a really hard slog. It's like something that they have to do and it feels like a chore. So let's start off with this. What words of advice could you actually give to someone who's feeling like this?
Yeah, awesome question. Look, I think that when this is happening, most commonly, what I'm finding is that the person is just trying to do the things that they've been told to do by someone else. So someone said, you have to go out there and you've got to do this and you have to do it 3 times a day. And it is just a chore. It's like, oh my God, I've got to do this. And so it is a hard slog because you are not into it. You're not, even though you're like, well, I really want the success, so I'm going to do it. I'm forcing myself to do it because so-and-so said I need to, and they seem to be some kind of expert. So it's like you're pushing yourself into some kind of system, method, and it's not maybe feeling right for you for whatever reason. Now, there could be a lot of reasons why it may not feel right for you, but I guess my number one advice would be the first thing: every single platform, every system, every marketing tool, all work. Otherwise, they wouldn't exist. They all work. You will find somebody who is the expert who's having success with every single one of them. And it doesn't matter if we're talking about email marketing, that's like the dinosaur that's been around for so long, or if we're talking about the very latest things, I'm not sure what is the most latest now. Is it Threads? Threads is newer than TikTok. It doesn't matter. There'll be someone now, even though Threads has only been out for a matter of months, who is already saying, this is my number one sales system and I can show you a process and blah, 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 blah. Like that will already be happening. And so the thing is, it's like there isn't a magic pill. There isn't any magical fairy dust that you're looking for. And it's like, oh, maybe that's not the right one. Maybe it's another one. It's like, what is the right one for you? And to really just go, it's okay if I'm not doing a system that someone else is making heaps of money doing, because that's what's working for them. If it's not aligned to you, it's never going to work for you the same as it does for them. It's just not going to be the same. So stop expecting it to be the same. Stop expecting to pick up somebody's 7 steps and implement it in your own business and have the same result, because you're not the same as them. It's really my number one advice is do less, do it better. Find what is actually the right thing for you, as in, like, actually, what are you even interested in doing? What sounds fun to you? If it's fun, it's not going to feel like a chore. It's not going to feel like work. It will actually be much easier for you to do it, because you'll be like, oh, this is actually a bit of fun. And I kind of know already what people are thinking. It's like, yeah, but how do you get out of your comfort zone? And if you're choosing something that's already what you're feeling is easy, then you're just going to be doing the same old thing. And yes, there is an element to maybe identifying what you think would suit you and your personality and knowing what you are like. You know yourself best. So maybe you think of something, you're like, well, I haven't done it before, but I think that I would like that. Well, that's a great place to start. Okay. You can step out of your comfort zone with the thing that makes you feel the most excited about trying it. And yeah, it might be difficult the first time or 10 times or 20 times that you do it.
So much gold there already, Jessica. Can I just say? So I really love the fact that you just said that there is always going to be a thing that works. There is always going to be social media platforms, email marketing platforms, strategies, things that work for other people, but it is just finding that right thing that works for you. And the other thing, which I absolutely love as well, is ditching the shoulds. So forgetting about, what you think you should be doing or what you've been
Hmm.
told is the thing to work that works, and to
Hmm.
really lean into what your strengths are and what you love to do as well. So I really love that. Thank you for sharing that.
Hmm.
So let's just talk about business growth for a moment and how marketing can help us in that respect to grow our business.
Well, marketing and business kind of go hand in hand. Like you can't have a business and not do marketing. Otherwise, you don't have a business. And a business is something that, you have clients coming in, paying you, they're attracted to you. And really, marketing is how you get those clients. And you've probably, I mean, you all would have experienced this if you're in the world. Also, like there are some people who will try to skip the entire marketing journey and just go straight to you and go for a sale. They pop up in your DM inbox and they're like, hey, I can help you improve something. You're like, I don't actually have a problem with that, but thank you. Like quite insulting, but go away. Thank you very much. They're trying to just skip this whole marketing journey. And you actually know, because how often do you sign up with them? How often do you buy from these random strangers in your face, trying to sell you something, just like the person who knocks on your door back in the old days and tried to sell you a bag of pegs? You're like, well, thanks. I've got pegs. I'm good. Like, go away. Thank you. It's exactly the same. So it's like a really low success rate with that, unless someone's literally like, I'm desperate. I have no pegs left. Thank God you've turned up at my door selling pegs. What are the chances of that happening? It's pretty low. So marketing is what you absolutely just need to get comfortable with the idea of doing. And I think that most of the time when we're not comfortable with it, it's because we've attached certain meanings to marketing. And it's a bit like the same way that people attach meanings to money, like people with money are greedy, and they've come from our past often, or our parents and parents' thoughts and beliefs. I think the same thing is with marketing. People are like, oh, I don't like all this. That would mean I've got to be really flashy and be a promo person. And I've got to stick my face everywhere and I've got to be putting myself out there. And you might start to feel like, some sort of random online prostitute for your business. And it's not like that at all, right? It's just that marketing, it is literally just how you can share with someone that you have something to offer and invite them, if it's right for them, to take that step forward. That's all you're doing. So marketing is really just communicating. And when you think about, well, I'm just inviting someone who's the right fit to, take the step forward. It's the same thing that we do when we invite people to a party. Imagine you're hosting a party. Now, would you not invite people to it because you're too afraid to put yourself out there and like, oh, that'll mean that I'm being really promo-ish and everything. Of course not. You're like, well, I know I'm going to invite people to my party. Otherwise the party would suck. It wouldn't be any good. No one would come. So it's the same thing like that we're doing with marketing. You're literally just inviting those people, the people out there who are your future besties, who are the right fit for you to, hey, like, come over here. I've got something really cool. It can help you. And it's the same thing. You don't even need to tell them to come over here. It's like, would you like to? They're still going to decide whether they do or not. You're not coercing them. You're not telling them that they have to. You're not telling them that they're going to have disasters if they don't. You're literally just saying, you're there. You want to be over here, and here's what I think is the best way, and I can help you with. And it doesn't seem all that scary after all, does it? So
I
it's
don't
like,
know. And the way that you've just described it, I mean, that's a perfect way of looking at marketing in terms of having a party and just thinking about who are the types of people that you would like to invite and just being confident and going out there and inviting them and asking them if they want to join you. Now, you said something then that I found really, really interesting, and that is attaching meaning to marketing. Like you said, I've heard that referenced in terms of attaching meaning to money, but not to marketing. So it's very interesting. I would love for my listeners to just check in now and think about, are they attaching any meaning to marketing that's actually stopping them from going forward and growing their business? So
mm,
speaking about growing your business, what are some suggestions that you might have for us in how we could utilize marketing in a particular way? Or what's the best way to think about growing our business in this current climate?
good question. And there's a few places we could go there. But I think the main thing that really springs straight to mind is it's a shift from thinking about I'm out there marketing my business to actually you are out there marketing and offering. People aren't going to come and buy your business. They're coming to you because you have a particular offering or digital product or whatever it is that you are selling. That is what they are interested in. There's a thing that is going to help them solve a problem. It's going to help them take a step to the outcome that they want to get. So you're not marketing you're not marketing your business, you're marketing a solution for someone who needs a solution. So the first thing is to bring it down to that level of specificity where I'm not thinking about, well, how do I just market a business? Like no one's coming, that what doesn't work because then you just get someone who's like vaguely thinking, oh, I don't know, do you have something that I need? And then are they going to toddle over to your website and poke around for a while and see whether anything's there, but like, you're on some treasure hunt. Like, no, people are just so time poor these days. They're only going to make the effort to come to your site if they know that you've got something that they want. So bring it down to that level of specificity first. Thinking about your marketing is actually what is it that you're marketing? What is it that you have? And who is it for? So we're not going, I'm just putting my business out there to attract people randomly. Trying to do that means that, you're just going to really get swallowed up by the big old universe and the internet, all of the people on it, all of the things out there, the noise, the noise, the noise, and it's like one tiny little squeak. So when you get really clear and specific, then when you are doing something, you're speaking specifically to people, you're in a spot where they are, and you've got some words that are going to make sense for them. So it comes then down to a strategy around your marketing, yes, but also you said, how do you grow faster with it? Like, it's not just about doing. I think this is one of the key things that I teach my clients in Business Jam. It's not about just doing more things, more marketing to get more results. It's actually like step it back and focus on how do I actually, like, what's the outcome I want in my business? And if you want to be working less hours and earning more, which is what the goal I had for my business when I first started this, I'm like, I do not want to be in the corporate world. I've got young children. I want to have time for my life and I want to be earning at least what my salary was or more. And I think that there was great potential to earn even more. You can sell almost anything you want to, but it makes more sense if you're like, well, if I'm getting more per sale, more per client, then I'm going to hit those targets a lot faster. So for me, it is about, especially if you have a one-to-one type of service, like, well, are we really going premium enough in order to hit your targets? Is the math adding up? And a lot of people I find are almost afraid to step into that place because they're thinking they're not ready for it because They are afraid of, there's many kind of misconceptions around that are really holding them back. And so they're there in a place where they've got much lower priced offerings, lower ticket, thinking that it's easier to sell, but it's actually taking a lot more time and effort. And on countless occasions, if you compare, say, a $500 offering to a $5,000 offering, it takes the same amount of effort to come up with the strategy, think about it, price it, set all the things up, and actually even more to promote and get your sales from the $500 one, because you've got to reach so many more people to get to the outcome. If you wanted to make 20 grand, well, you only need 4 people for the $5,000 one, but you need 40 people for the $500 one. So it just is a lot more volume. And there's this total misconception out there that it's easier. It's like, well, that doesn't sound easier to me. I'd rather only need to get 4 yeses to hit my goal rather than 40, right?
Mm.
And it just starts growing and growing from there.
And I would have to agree in terms of the amount of effort it takes to sell a low ticket with a high ticket, because, like you said, you just still have to do as much work in the background in terms of the strategy, in terms of coming up with your message around it, in terms of,
Hmm.
nailing your niche, all of those things. You do as much work with the low ticket as you do with the high ticket. So that is really great advice there. Now, you mentioned about getting specific, about understanding a solution and an offer, and that there is often less effort that you have to put into making as much money with a high ticket offer. So let's talk about these high ticket offers for a second. And
Mm.
what is it, or where do we even start to think about our high ticket offers and start marketing them and bringing them to the world? Where do we start with that?
The very first thing to start with, before we even look at the strategy, I do have a strategy kind of framework that we do inside Business Jam, where there are 5 key parts of that framework to actually attract your high ticket clients and make that all happen really easily. But before we get there, I think the big thing that's stopping a lot of people is actually even thinking that they can do it, that it's even possible for them. Because most of the time they think things like, well, my people won't buy. If I raise my prices, no one will pay that. And yes, maybe the people who you're currently targeting and who you're currently speaking to, maybe they won't, but it doesn't mean that there aren't other people who will. And so that's not about them. It's so much more about you. Are you actually ready to step into those shoes? Are you ready to, you know, value your expertise enough to say, hey, you know what? I have the expertise. I can help you. And this is worthy and it's worth whatever amount it is. Now, it's not necessarily just changing the number on what it is that you already sell. And there's so often that I have clients come in and it's more about rethinking what it is that they're offering and changing the actual offering itself. So, yes, it may be in the same kind of realm, but we take it from being this low level basic offer into being a premium offer so that they can attract the premium clients. Because the premium clients, like if we think about handbags, for example, someone who's buying a $5,000 Prada or Chanel handbag, they're not shopping for their handbags at Target and paying $50. Like they're just not, they're like, I don't want that. Even though they're both bags, they both do the same thing. They are going for a premium one. They're not interested in the lower one. So often there's a misalignment that's going on where you've got an offering and you're wanting to attract the premium clients, but the offer is not aligned to the premium clients. So they're not even thinking about it. They're not even in that zone. They're not interested. And so it's partly just moving them into place.
Okay, so it's about how do we actually change the offer, or what do we need to change about an offer to make it more attractive to the people that we want to attract?
Yeah. So I'll give you an example because I think it's always better to make this more tangible. And one of my beautiful clients last year, she was an HR executive in her corporate role, like sitting in the C suite, reporting to the CEO, super experienced, number of years, and really, really smart person. Now, she started her business and she thought, how can I help people? And so she was kind of doing HR advisory, but she was thinking, I'm going to help people out. They've got a problem. They've got a manager who's being mean, or they've got a problem happening at work and all of these things. And then she came to me and she's like, how do I grow my business? Like at this point, I'm working all the time, I'm earning, but I know it could be higher. I just don't really know what to do around my offering. And of course, we had to go back and start with, well, and this is the first key in my strategic formula. It's like, well, what is it that you are actually great at? Because clearly you've got so much experience and you've got a big heart. She wanted to help so many people, and she had been through a whole lot of things as well. So I think she was sort of half using it to leverage some experiences that she had had with legal system and all sorts of things, and, unfair dismissals and stuff like that that had gone on. And it's like, well, what is it that you actually really want to do? And I call this kind of going, it's taking your niche, your ideal customer, and, your unique value and combining that together into creating your expert zone. So a lot of people find a niche and it's like, that's what I do. And they have an ideal client and that's who it's for. Like, merge these things together to really find that sweet spot. But the real thing that turns it into an expert zone is where you add in, this is something that I do. I have a way of doing this that other people aren't doing. And so for her, that was a massive realization because she was like, I actually really want to help women learn how to step into leadership and stop being managers. So they are managers right now and they really want to be a leader, but they are struggling to do that. And that's what she goes, I'm really good at it. I do this all the time. And so it took a while, like that process. It wasn't that quick where I asked the question and she had the answer, but it was a lot of working through those layers and exploring different things and then realizing what it was that not what she can do, but what it is that she really, really wanted to do, where she could have the most value. And then, of course, when you start with that, you think, well, what is the right offering for that person? Is it just a HR, I'm going to have a consultation with someone and then go away? And it was like, no, there's actually to get them from where they are now to where they need to be, there's going to be more involved in it. So we're already at a higher level offering. We're already creating that into a premium. So it's not now just a consultation where you have an hour of time and you go away and you might come back and do another hour. It's like a chat with your HR manager. Now this has turned into a strategic offering. And so she came up with VIP days and she was doing half days for $3,000. And that was her very first one. She went out and she was like, oh my goodness, she literally contacted me the next day after she worked on the offer and figured out what she was pricing it at and what would be included. And she's like, I've already got a client. I'm like, how did that happen? Haven't even started thinking about marketing or anything yet. She's like, oh, I was just talking to somebody and they bang, next thing you know, she's got a client. I'm like, well, that is exactly what happens. As soon as you have this expert zone, you've got this clarity on exactly what you do, who you help, why, and then you've got an offering that is aligned with it. It didn't matter for these people because of where they were in their career. She was targeting that a half day offering $3,000. It was like a no brainer. Bang. Absolutely. I want to pay that $3,000 because I want that outcome. And anyone who is got some expertise, you can do this. There is a formula to it in terms of a framework that you use in order to put these pieces together and to come up with what is the right offering for your ideal client that is aligned with your expert zone. And I call it a winning offer because it's a win-win for everybody, right? It's not just about having an offer that they'll buy. It's actually taking it to the next level because, you know me, I like to add in layers. The winning offer is easy to sell. So it happens like that, but it's also easy for you to deliver and it's fitting into your income and lifestyle goals. There is absolutely no point selling something that you know people will buy if you're going to be working day and night, weekends, and that's not what you want in your life. If you've got kids and you have a plan of like, I want to have my weekends free. I want to be spending family time, want to do family dinners. I want to take my kids to sport after school. Do not create the thing that's going to keep you locked to your desk for 60 hours a week because there is no alignment there. It's not going to get you the outcome and result that you want. You're just going to end up stressed, working all the time, burnt out. Will you even ever get to that, future where you think that all this work is going to get you the freedom? It's like, build the freedom. And right now you can. It's literally around how you design that offer. And it's possible. It's just that probably what you have right now, if it's not giving you that, it means that it's not the right offer for your lifestyle goals. So let's relook at what are some other ways that you could do that? What could we realign? How could we change it and adjust it so that you can get that outcome?
I love the example that you gave of your client there, Jessica. And I think that really brings it to the forefront that once you have your expertise and you really feel comfortable with that, and you acknowledge what it is and you're ready to use it, and then combine that with something that really lights you up as well as what your ideal client really needs, it's easy to sell. Like, I think that the fact that she sold
Yeah.
one without doing any marketing says that, it felt really aligned for her to be able to talk about it and came up naturally in
Mhm.
conversation, and it was exactly what her ideal client needed. So I love that. So once we are clear on our expert zone and we have our winning offer, what's
Mhm.
next? What else can we do?
Yeah, so the third ingredient in my framework is what I call a brand experience. And this is not a new term. I think there are a lot of product businesses out there that use brand experience. So you may have heard of it before, but what we're talking about when we're talking about coaching and expertise, like thought leadership, advisory type businesses where you're selling your knowledge and your expertise, is that your brand experience is the experience that somebody has with you with contact points. And why this is so important is because 95% of all buying decisions, the decision of whether they're going to sign up with you or not, is based on emotion. And if you're not evoking any emotion, then what do you think's happening? Like, beep, there's just nothing happening, right? Um, and so your brand experience is there to evoke the emotion. It's to evoke emotional connection. And there are really three layers to it that I teach within Business Jam. And the most important layer, the third one, is your messaging. This is your words, because your words are so, 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 so powerful. You cannot have a brand experience without words. They will draw your people in. They will also help repel the ones that aren't right for you. They will create a deeper connection and emotional pull. And so when we're looking at messaging, again, I have frameworks within frameworks, but there's a little mini framework within that. And there's really three aspects that we're working on with the messaging to create this emotional connection. And that is thoughts. So what's happening, what are they thinking? Tapping into the thoughts that are going on in their mind and you're speaking to them. What are they feeling? The emotions that they're feeling, what it is that's going on that they're experiencing and what they're doing. So what is then from all of the stuff that they're doing, how are they perceiving what's going on right now? So their current experience of what's happening. And when you are combining these together, and you're speaking to it, that person feels very seen, they feel very heard and very understood. And it is almost impossible for them not to feel a pull towards you. Most people are not doing this. They're not speaking to them on those levels. They're kind of really sort of surface level, almost like I'd liken it to most marketing that I see would be like you walk past a shop and they've got a poster on the window, with like, hey, come in, I have some shoes, 20% off or whatever. Like, it's that level. There's no emotion to it. They're just putting something up on the window and hoping someone walks past and notices it. So it takes it to a whole different level when you're creating that emotional connection. And it is that is that pull, that is how you attract these clients to you. And when they feel that, there is zero price sensitivity. Like, of course, some people have a budget, but the price is way down the list before they're even thinking about the price. They're already wanting to work with you. And they'll probably be more like, well, I'd like to work with you. What can you do? And if it's too much, I'll be thinking, is there another option? Do you have something else that's smaller I can start with if there is a problem? But what I find most of the time when you've properly identified who your ideal client is, your premium client who does have the money to pay for your services, that's not even a problem. That question's not even coming in there.
Yeah, that's amazing. Now, I feel like that all of us at some point have come across a social media post that really resonates with us, that really speaks to us. And that's
Mm,
when creator of that post has really dug into the thinking, feeling, and doing side of things. So I love that example. So
mm.
once we have attracted people to our world with this message that really does turn into what they're thinking, feeling, and doing, how do we bring them deeper into our world?
Yeah. So, what I like to call your lead machine is really the next piece. And that is simply a fancy name for what is the marketing that you're doing? And is it designed so that these elements that you're doing are connected and they're helping to bring leads in? So what we want to see the difference between just doing marketing activities. So I'm like, oh, I'm over there posting on Facebook, and now I'm over here sending an email, and I'm going to be in a summit, or I'm going to, whatever it is. And there are all these just random activities going on. That's the scattergun approach. And there's no alignment between them, and each one is not helping leverage the other one. So what we want to do instead is think about it as, okay, your marketing activities, essentially when we map them together, become your lead machine. So what are we doing to help strangers to discover you? What are we helping those people once they've discovered you, they're in your audience, to become a lead? And then what are we helping those people to become clients? And we need to have something at each of those phases. Otherwise, it's like this big gap in the system. And an analogy I love to use there is thinking about Roman aqueducts. So imagine you've got a lake up in the hills, and then you've got a town that needs water. And so you're designing this system to get the water from the lake to the town. And sometimes it's got to go across a valley or a ravine, or there's another river underneath, even, that it's got to go past. And if the water went down into that river, it's just going to get funneled off down the different pathway. It's never going to reach the town. So the Romans would design an aqueduct that would bridge a valley or a ravine or another river, and it would help the water to flow from the top of where they were down, and they would actually create the water course to get to the town. That's the same thing as what you're doing in your marketing. And if you don't have the aqueduct there and there's a ravine, there's a gap, then where do you think your water is going? It's not reaching the town, it's falling through the gap. So that's why it is a machine as in a system, because there are parts that are connected. Now, you don't need to have it, doesn't need to be complicated. You might only have one activity per phase there, like one at the start, one in the middle, one at the end. That's fine. It's still a system. It's still a machine because they're connected. You can always add more. You can always make it more complicated, but start off with the least amount and make sure they connect, and then you can build and grow it.
I love that analogy. That's so fun. I've never heard anyone describe getting leads like that before, but it's true. It's like thinking about where are things leading to, what happens if I don't purposefully and intentionally do something, and how can I make it as easy as possible for both myself and someone to come into my world. So once we have all the right connections in place, how do we actually get them to become a client, a hell yes client?
Yeah. So, like, the beautiful thing is that once they get to the end of that, the water has flowed down. We've got a lovely flow coming into the town, and the town is obviously you and your business. Um, if you've got that in place, then the sales part of it, that so many people are like, "Ooh, I don't want to do selling." And, we've got, again, so much meaning attached to that, because we don't want to be like a used car salesman. Like, when your marketing has worked and you've got the flow of people who've come into your world and they've flowed down to the town, all they need at that point is a really easy transaction to get them to sign up. So it's like what I call your sign me up system. It is literally like, how can you make it more easy for someone to sign up with you? Like, let's not put walls in their way. Let's not put barriers. Let's not make them figure out how to scale over a moat or whatever to get into your town. Like, let's put the bridge down, flags up, show them this is the way in over here. Here's the gate. Come on in, and I'll roll out a red carpet and make it really easy for you and pleasant as well. And it's like exciting and fun and not arduous, not hard, because the moment that there are obstacles in your way, people drop off. They just go, oh, this is too hard. I'm just not doing, I'm not doing this now. I don't have enough time. Then they don't do it. And then someone's sitting there going, oh, people just don't like me. We have a really great chat and we get on the phone call. You can get all this information from them after they've already joined. That's one of the first things I see. So many service providers thinking, I need all this information. It's like, do that after they've signed up. You do not need to make it hard for them to sign up by asking for a mountain of information before they've even signed with you. So it's just thinking more strategically about your sign up system. How can you make it simple? How can you actually turn this into the best experience possible? And that's that experience again, because yes, you want to have a good experience during your marketing, like the first impressions that people get of you are really important, but their first impression and experience of you working with you is also really important, because it can be the thing that either makes that person an advocate for life or not. Right? They might be like, oh, it sounded really good. And now that I'm being a client, now it's not really like matching that same vibe that I had. in the marketing. You just never want that to happen. You want this to be like really in integrity with you and your brand the whole way through. So creating a system, and I say system, it doesn't even need to be anything complicated.
And I think that's such good advice because we do tend to try and make things difficult for ourselves, tend to try and go fancy or elaborate. And in the process of doing that, just, really make it really hard for people
Mm,
to actually sign up with us. So I love that. So I love those 5 things that you shared with us today, Jessica, about growing your business, particularly with premium clients or high ticket offers. And that is around understanding who you are and working within that expert zone. It's creating that winning offer, creating that brand experience that particularly through your message and understanding what people are thinking and feeling and doing, creating a lead machine, and that's funneling people into the right places and making it easy through a sign me up system. So thank you so much for sharing all of that with me today, Jessica, and my listeners. I know that you have got a free masterclass coming up in relation to going deeper into finding
mm.
out how to get premium paying clients. So do you want to talk more about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So if you've liked what we've talked about today, my masterclass, The Magnetic Formula, is really talking to you about in much more detail what is the strategy that you can implement in order to attract premium paying clients into your business. And so if you've loved it and you thought, I really want to know more about it, then come and join me in that class because we go into some more detail there. There's a few things that you can do to get started as well. And yeah, basically you will just get more, more in much more detail than what we've touched on today.
So I'll make sure I put that link to that masterclass in the show notes. And I would have to say that every time I'm around Jessica, she always brings the goods. So you will be guaranteed, here I am putting a guarantee on this, that you will walk away from this masterclass knowing something more about how to integrate marketing into your own business and how to use it to the best of your ability as well, like most efficiently, as well as really honing into your strengths and what you love to do as well. So make sure that you head over to Jessica's masterclass. I know that it will be full of value. Now, Jessica, before we finish up today, do you have any final parting words of wisdom?
Always so many, but lots of things that I like to say and teach people. I think the main thing, thinking about what we've covered today is just to stay open to new ideas and perspectives. And, some of what I've shared today may have felt a little bit confronting, or maybe you straight away gone, oh, that's not true, or I couldn't do that. And I encourage you to, look at the other side of the coin, because with every problem that we see or reason why we can't do something, there is always a reason why we can. And there's always a different perspective that you can bring to it. I love helping to see the other side of the coin, the perspective shifting. So come and join me in my world and I'll be helping you do that all the time. But, I think that a lot of people say to me, and I've had clients say this on countless times where they've come into, say, Business Jam, and they've tried to skip ahead through the first couple of modules because they're like, oh, I've already done this before. I already know my niche. I know my ideal client. I already have a service offering. And it's like, well, if you're joining Business Jam because you wanted to sign more clients, actually sign more premium clients and get that income goal in the time that you want to work, if you're not there yet, then it's a sign that what you've done probably isn't done to the level that's actually required to. So I encourage people to kind of stay open and present to what insights can you gain that are going to help you to optimize what you've already done. It's not that you have to go back over and do things again. It's like, can you take it to a deeper level? I'm just saying what you did got you to where you are. But if you want to go to that next step, then we're going to have to go deeper and we're going to need to go further. So it's taking it to another level of specificity, another level of insight, and going deeper onto these things will help you shift, and it can be like significant in terms of the results that you see once you are ready to take that step.
Such a beautiful way to end this episode, Jessica. Be open to new perspectives and to go a little bit deeper in what you're doing, and you will definitely see the results. So, thank you so much for coming on the podcast today for the second time and sharing your wisdom with my listeners. I truly appreciate you being here.
Thanks so much, Mel. It's been fun, as always. Love chatting with you.
Thanks so much for listening. That's it for another week. To get more powerful content in your life, make sure you're following along on socials. My handle is @meldbusiness. And just in case you're wondering, the groovy music for this podcast was created by Just Here on SoundCloud. I'd also be super grateful if you took a moment to rate and review this podcast so more amazing women like you can experience the power of content. And if you're like, hell Mel, stop talking, I'm ready to work with you now, here's how we can work some powerful content magic together. Firstly, come and join the Content Effect, my membership inspiring women with service-based businesses to ditch the content chaos and start creating stand-out content that gets you noticed and makes sales. You can join us by using the link in the show notes or just Google the Content Effect. The second way we can work together is via my one-on-one packages. We can create a sustainable content strategy or start to build out your client journey. It's up to you. Pop on over to meldbusinessservices.com.au/services to find out more. Until next time, have a beautiful week and embrace the power of your content.